Welcome to Frankie Ogar Television, where storytelling meets cinematic excellence.
Welcome back to Consumer Voice Television. My name is Reward Nakerapo. You know, the aviation sector is a sector that has a lot of complaints the world over and in Nigeria. So this week, in order to properly understand and appreciate consumer rights in this sector and also the perspective of the service provider, Dorcom Rimdam had a conversation, an interesting sit-down with the chairman CEO, Air Peace Nigeria. And this is how it went.
Joining us now on Consumer Voice Television is the Chief Executive Officer, Air Peace, and the Vice President, Airline Operators Nigeria, in person of Allen Onyema. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
As way of introduction, sir, can you please give us a brief overview of your airline's commitment to consumer satisfaction and adherence to consumer protection laws in Nigeria?
First of all, the establishment of Air Peace, so to say, is not really for pecuniary reasons solely. Yeah, you might say it's business, but we do more of philanthropy to help the people of Nigeria. So, with that in mind, we set out to make sure we take consumer protection and satisfaction as uppermost in our operations. And we've discharged our duties to that effect, so good, overwhelmingly excellently too.
So in your view, can you share some of the major challenges that you would say the Nigerian customer faces every day while they use the airlines?
You see, there has been a lot of, hues and cries about flight. I'm talking about consumers now, about flight cancellations and flight delays in Nigeria. But I have to tell you, until certain things are put in place in this country, it will be a long drawn day for us to start enjoying uninterrupted flight operations in this country. We are paying lip service to the issues of flight delays and flight cancellations. First of all, you have to talk about the infrastructure in place. There are so many things that could cause flight delays or flight cancellations. In the ICAO data, you have about 99 reasons for cancellations and delays. Only 5 of them could be attributed to airlines. So we come here, we shout about the airlines, we demonize Nigerian airlines unnecessarily, until and only when Nigeria is serious about treating the issues of how the Nigerian passenger behaves, then there will never be a cessation from flight delays and flight cancellations. In fact, it's going to increase. I'll give you an example. All over the world, if you have weather or a force majeure related cancellation or delay, it's not the duty of the airline to compensate anyone. I flew from Miami to Atlanta some 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Just 1 hour, 20 minutes flight. 20 minutes into landing in Atlanta, what happened? The pilot announced that there was a storm raging over Atlanta. We were not supposed to go in because of weather. It became an issue of safety. So the flight was diverted to South Carolina. a town called Shastown. So we landed there at 10:30 in the morning. When we landed, they told everyone, please take your hand luggage and get out of the plane. No why? Because the duty time of the crew had elapsed. And this is a regulatory requirement. Maybe those pilots have been flying overnight and their duty time, they were supposed to land only in Atlanta and stop. That's one cycle more. They'll stop. A cycle means landed. One cycle more, they stop. So now that cycle was expanded in South Carolina. So the moment they landed in South Carolina, they should never take the skies again. So they said, we have to wait until another set of crew will come from wherever to take the flight. So they told us to take our hand luggage out. We went into the building. We sat down there. Nobody made noise. Nobody disrupted anything. 20 minutes into our sitting in the lounge, the storm in Atlanta stopped. Flight resumption continued into Atlanta. The same Delta Airline was announcing flights to Atlanta, but not our flights. Every 20 minutes, Atlanta was being announced. None of the passengers in my own group got up to say, no, it's our turn. Nobody will go except us. We've been here for... We left there 11:30 in the night. We landed there 10:30 in the morning. We left 11:30 in the night because it won't be easy for any airline to get a crew immediately to take you. In Nigeria, you were expected to manufacture crews, maybe keep 20 crews in Abuja, keep 20 in Owerri, keep another 30 in Maiduguri, keep everywhere, and even put planes in every airport. So where you have a best strike or your aircraft goes tech, you must provide another plane. All these airlines, they have two planes. They have three planes. They should be, because they don't have enough planes. We know what we should do, and we don't do it. And we blame the poor airlines who are doing your man's job. When you see the shareholding of these airlines, salute them because they're patriotic Nigerians. It's not a lucrative business to start with. It's never been a lucrative worldwide. It's not a lucrative business, but it takes your passion. It takes your passion. So if that thing that happened in Atlanta, yes, happened in Nigeria, they will kill us. But the airline was not supposed to manufacture crew. That was the first measure. We waited there till 10:30, over 12 hours. Nobody gave us food or a bar. They gave us water. You take water, that's all. At 11:30, we took off. Nobody made noise. The other day, I was in one of these British Airways, British carriers. I won't name the particular one. Doors were shut at 10:25 for the aircraft to take off at 10:30. As at the time we were pushing back, the pilot suddenly announced that there was a problem with one of the engines. So they pushed forward again and parked the plane. In that aircraft, you have 99% Nigerians. I was there too. I started to get up. I went down the aisle. Nobody made any fuse. Nobody spoke a word. Nigerians, you tell Nigerians that the engine of an aircraft they were in was not performing. It took 30 minutes to rectify the engine. Started the engine, we started moving. We got to the threshold. Threshold is where you take off from. Where you rev the engine now, start running to take off. When we got there, the pilot did exactly that. The next thing, stopped. That one of the engines was not powering well. We went back. Nigerians sat down and they were serving us water. Remember, this happened at 10:30 in the morning. They worked on the engine. We did that 4 times.
Wow.
Engine issues. No Nigerian spoke a word because, it was a British carrier. Therefore, they were immune from anything. They kept on repairing. No Nigerian said a word. And when you take off, the noise of their landing gear, because it was a 747, old 747 that was built in 1981, over 40 years old plane. Nobody said a word because we are foreign airline. Then come to Nigeria. Let Air Peace or Asman or Max Air or Ibom Air or any of these other airlines, United Nigeria, Aero, Arik, let them tell the passenger that, we saw a light, we're not comfortable with it, we want to see if it could be rectified. Please give us some minutes. Whoa, pandemonium inside the plane. People will get up. I'm not going again. I'm not going again. They will start banging everything bangable on your plane, disrupting everything, forcing the pilot that the doors of the aircraft must be open for them to get down. They're not comfortable. They bring rickety planes into this country, all these old planes. They will abuse you, abuse your mother, abuse your father, pray against you, curse you, and all kinds of things. As they're doing this, they're delaying their flights. As he's getting down, he's calling his pastor. Pastor, it don't happen. That's what he tell us 2 months ago. We don't see him not today. But I'm coming to do Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving for what? That a door light showed, and the pilot said, let me rectify it. And as they're coming out, some of them, one leg outside the aircraft, another leg inside. He wouldn't want you to shut the door. He said you must tell him how he was going to go the next time. He must provide another flight for him. As he's doing this, he's delaying the flights. At the end of the day, when you delay one particular aircraft, remember that aircraft is not only going to your destination. It will land in that destination, go to 7 other destinations. The people in those other destinations will be affected at the end of the day. They will never know that it was a passenger that caused that delay. It will be blamed on the airline because they're not seeing it. I'll give you another example. Last week, we are going into worry. Before you take off, the pilot must have been given the weather conditions, both en route and at destination. Everything was okay. But as they took off, weather could change within seconds. By the time they were descending worry, there was thunderstorm everywhere. It was all red in the cockpit. They were shaking violently. For safety, the pilot decided to hold, not to go into it. He held for about 15 minutes, burning fuel. At the end of the day, the thing became worse. He diverted the plane to Enugu for safety. This was in the evening. When they landed, I'm talking about Air Peace now. They landed in Enugu, waiting for the weather to clear. When you land, because Enugu was not your destination, it was just an alternate in case of any unsafe situation. You divert to another airport for safety. Because of weather, they diverted to Enugu. You must take more fuel because you expended your fuel hovering, you expended fuel going to another destination that was not meant for you. So you needed to take another fuel. Fuel was brought in and everything. To the loss of the airline. At the end of the day, by the time weather cleared over there, it was sunset in Warri. Air Peace or any Nigerian airline, none of us created the sunset. None of us created the kind of airports we have. Sunset means that after 6 o'clock or 6:20 or thereabout, they give you different times every day. Today might be 6 o'clock, the next day might be 6:20, depending on the weather. So they said the airport was closed. The Warri authorities closed down the airport and said no flight should come in again. The pilot, quietly, a Caribbean, announced to the passengers that unfortunately we can't go into Warri, it's sunset already. We have to take you back to Abuja where the flight originated. Pandemonium. They almost destroyed a brand new E2 that's worth over $60 million. They were banging on it, so we were threatening they would bomb the plane. They kept our aircraft on ground for 4 good hours. For 4 good hours. That plane was supposed to do 4 more flights on that day. The whole 4 flights were cancelled. And when the plane landed Abuja, the next morning, they must be the first people you're going to carry. Nowhere in the world is aviation practiced in this manner. Government must come out. We shouldn't be playing to the gallery. Government must come out and call a spade a spade. The Nigerian passenger needs education, but unfortunately, Most of those passengers, they know the truth too. Some of them that travel all over the world, they know. Like I told you, British Airways, they will make noise. They didn't make noise. They sat there. They know that if they do anything, they could be arrested. If you even shout unnecessarily, you'll be arrested. In Nigeria, it's only in Nigeria that a passenger would disagree with an airline and go and barricade a moving plane. This plane no go move. And we say consumer protection. How about airline protection? How about the staff of airline? They are people's daughters. There are people's daughters. There are other people's children. There are other people's husbands, other people's wives, brothers and sisters, and they beat them up unnecessarily at the airport for nothing that concerns them. It's very vexatious the way airlines are being demonized already by everybody. By everybody. What happened in Enugu was just the same thing that happens every day. Out of over 40-something airports in Nigeria, how many of them are not sunset airports? Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Kano. The rest are marginal, even the ones that have lightings. Some days because of manpower. So you find most of them closing down on time. So if there was any weather, it must lead to cancellation of some flights. So every day airlines cancel flights, not because they want to cancel flights. When you cancel flight as a result of force majeure, all over the world in aviation, it's not your business to cancel other flights, to fly the passengers on that particular schedule. No, that is why it's called scheduled operations. All over the world, you're told to go and schedule to the next available dates. Like those worry passengers, all they should do is to schedule to the next, go and find it yourself. I've discharged my duty. Is this force majeure? Is whether you go and reschedule to the next available date. So you go online, start looking for an available flight, or you open your ticket. Or you open your ticket. But in Nigeria, they'll say, no, our flight was disrupted by weather yesterday. Therefore, we must be the first people to fly this morning. That morning, you have a schedule. That's why it's called scheduled operations. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. So in the morning now, you first of all bring out an aircraft to do that worry flight. As you're doing it, you're disrupting the schedule for the day. So it carries on 365 days in a year.
Welcome to Frankie Ogar Television, where storytelling meets cinematic excellence. Subscribe now and step up behind the scenes of Africa's next great stories. Let's make magic together.
Flight cancellations and delays are unavoidable, like you have rightly highlighted. And these are things that will continue to happen. Now, the question is, how is your airline ensuring consumer satisfaction in all of this?
Even at the airports, we address them. I've given you the Benin scenario. They were there. They saw it. You address them. You say, look, these two aircraft are now grounded here because of bird strike. We cannot go again. And we'll try and see what we can do the next morning, because already it was getting late in the evening, to see how we can move you. It's not even our problem to move them the next day. We address them. How else would you? They say, oh, Nigerian airlines, they don't give adequate information. These ones, we are sitting down there. They saw it live. They didn't even need to go far. It's not a matter of sending email or sending text. They saw it there and we addressed it. The worry incident. They were participants in the thing. They were on the aircraft, saw that weather was bad. They were even doing a sign of the cross inside the plane. When the weather was shaking the plane violently, they saw that the weather was bad. There were storms raging over Warri. The people sitting in Warri wait to go to Lagos from Warri. They saw it. They knew that no airplane could land in that kind of storm. They knew. The ones sitting in the plane, they knew. They were diverted. So how do you rate the kind of communication you give these kind of people? They saw it, they experienced it, and they were told we cannot go into Warri again. They were told that it's unsafe when an airport is closed for an airline to now try to go in. Nobody will direct you. You need the people out there They say, no, it's a lie. People are lying. Lying for what? It would have been better for me to land in Warri. They take the Lagos passengers straight to Lagos. Instead, they kept the aircraft there. We keep on informing them. Let me give you something that will shock you. They say airlines don't communicate. Some people will go to the protocol lounge, sit down there. They are gisting, they are big men. You try to talk to them. I've seen this myself. I've been in a lounge and a man was watching film on his iPad and Abuja was being announced. This is not about instruction now. Abuja flight was being announced. He was a business class passenger, so he was sitting in the VIP lounge. They came there. It was one of the days I used to, work at the airport. Sometimes I used to go to the airport to see what the frontline people were doing. So I went there, I saw it. And I called one woman going to Yola, sitting by my side. I said, if you could see, this guy is attacking my staff for telling him, sir, your flight has been called. He said, please go away, go away. He came the third time. I beckoned on him to come and say, leave that man. And I told the woman by my side, I said, the woman was going to Yola. I said, you're my witness. You see what this man will do when he misses this flight. I will sit down here today and see what will happen. The Abuja flight left. And an hour and a half later, he got up. Oh, this airline is Nigeria. This and that. Look at the time. I'm missing my... So they blaming airline. He got to the departure gates at the Lagos airport. He never called the Abuja flight. I said, let me see your boarding pass. I saw the boarding pass. I said, oh, your own Abuja flight had gone. In fact, they're on their way coming back. Bah, on the face of somebody's wife. He slapped someone else's wife. He said, we didn't announce the flight. That flight had over 150 people on board, 150 souls. How did the other people go? How did the rest people go if the flight was not announced? But we see this every day. There was another occasion, somebody went out of the airport, flight was announced. He said the flight wasn't announced, no communication. And he went there, started destroying the computers. Imagine the disruption, massive disruption that will cause for days. They destroy computers every day in Nigeria. And people will say, it's because of the way Nigerian Airlines treat them. How do we treat them?
So, striking a balance between protecting consumer rights and considering operational challenges is essential. How does your airline ensure that this balance is achieved?
We try to, no airline takes pride or delights in delaying or canceling flight. Once you cancel flight, you're losing. You're losing. So why must you bring that upon yourself? The only time, let me tell you, airlines also have their own problems. Airlines also have their own problems. Because there are times some staff might drop the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Some staff might drop the ball. I've been to the airport one time, let me say airpiece. And I asked the ramp officer, when is the flight from Abuja coming in? He said, in the next 2 minutes, it will land. So I sat down there looking at the approach where flights come from. 2 minutes passed, I don't see my aircraft. I asked him, he said, it's supposed to land 2 minutes ago. 30 minutes, I don't see plane. 1 hour, I know. If you are in my position, how would you feel? And I asked him again, where is the flight? He said, I don't know. Hey, I started sweating. I started sweating. Do you know that the flight he told me will be coming in 2 minutes' time? That aircraft had been on ground 30 minutes earlier.
Whoa.
So that kind of ramp officer would definitely make a mistake because he's waiting for an aircraft to come before he will call for boarding. Meanwhile, the aircraft had been there. So he might be wasting other people's time.
Yeah.
So sometimes but it's not something that is very prominent. I'm not saying the airline might not have problem. Another thing is, if the aircraft goes tech, yes, the airline will take responsibility, even though going tech is not the airline's fault. It's a machine. It can go bad anytime. The one airline owes everybody's safety. You must go and make sure that aircraft is safe to fly. I have flight phobia. Yes, I have flight phobia. My wife has flight phobia. So that's why we run if it's like a passenger that is fearful of
Oh, I see that.
flying. Yes, that's why I spend a lot on maintenance and issues of safety.
So in instances where customer disenfranchisement occurs due to various factors that you have highlighted in the course of our conversation, how does your airline ensure that the customer is still satisfied at the end of the day? And, Airpeace is not at a loss and the customer is also happy.
If we cancel as a result of our own problems, we offer certain rebates. Either if you want your refund, we give you your refund. If you want to still maintain your ticket, sometimes we offer them 50% rebate on their next flight. We give them such incentives. We do that. Sometimes we even give them free tickets for the next flight. We do that always.
Looking ahead, what initiatives or changes would you like to see in the realm of consumers and service provider protection for the aviation industry in Nigeria?
Unless and only when all the parties sit down and chart a new course for aviation in this country, vis-a-vis or in relation to issues of consumer protection and the rights of airlines to will be scratching the solution on the surface. Nothing will happen. So we need your department to undertake massive education of customers. The airlines will be willing. If any other airline is not willing to participate, Airpeace will be willing. I've said this several times. I talked to the DGNCA on this. We are willing to help in educating the Nigerian flight public on certain things they don't need to do. Educate them on their rights and educate them to the limits of those rights. And educate them about the rights of the airlines and what the convention says.
Thank you so much, sir, for honoring our invitation.
Thank you very much.
This has been such an insightful conversation. There will be more. Keep watching Consumer Voice Television.
Thank you very much, Dorcon, for that very engaging and enlightening conversation. Sometimes it's not that easy balancing consumer rights and operational modalities. So conversations like this help us understand better and let us know how to go about pursuing consumer rights better. As we like to say, remember that your voice is your power. Reach out to us on all our social media handles and let us know your experience on all things consumer rights. Tell us know your complaints and your commendations so together we can improve the quality of consumer experience all across Nigeria and therefore improve the quality of the Nigerian economy and the Nigerian life. Until next week, my name is Reward Enakerapo. And this is Consumer Voice Television.
Subscribe now and step up behind the scenes of Africa's next great stories. Let's make magic together.